Hey, and welcome to Make a Mark Studios. I'm Miss V, and this video tutorial is going to cover the drawing technique of foreshortening. If you're interested, click the link below for a free guided note sheet to complete as you watch the video. Let's start by defining what is foreshortening in art. Foreshortening is a perspective technique used to create the illusion that an object has depth. Take a look at this example of foreshortening of a finger pointing. When the finger is pointed directly at the viewer, it distorts the length of the arm. It appears shorter, hence foreshortening. The photo on the left shows a side view. We see the entire long length of the arm. However, the photo on the right of the little boy in the yellow jacket is pointing directly at the viewer, so we don't see the entire length of the arm. It appears shorter. Foreshortening distorts the length of the object, and it depends on the angle that the object is looking directly at the viewer. Foreshortening can be really tricky to draw, so it just takes practice, practice, practice. In this example, we see 3 different photographs of a crayon. Notice that the length of the crayon appears to get shorter as it angles towards the viewer. Additionally, when we look at this series of 6 different crayons angled at varying degrees, we see that on the left side, as the crayon is full length, the sides of the crayon are parallel, straight up and down. However, as we move to the right and the crayon angles more and more towards the viewer, the sides become less parallel and they angle in, getting smaller towards the bottom and larger towards the top. Additionally, we look at the ellipse at the top of the crayon. On the left, they're fairly straight. However, as we move to the right, we see more of an arc on the ellipse. We also see more of the very top of the crayon. Let's try to draw 2 different examples of foreshortening technique. The first is going to be a drawing of 4 different cylinders angled towards the viewer at varying degrees. To begin, we're going to draw 2 light lines. These are going to be guidelines to help us with our cylinders. The first is a straight line for the bottom, and then an angled line at the top. Keep these pretty light. Since we're going to draw 4 cylinders, I'm going to make 4 little evenly spaced out tag marks, just so that I know where to put my cylinders. We're going to start with the ellipse. For each ellipse, we're going to draw an axis. The vertical axis is going to be pretty small for the first cylinder because it's going to be a flatter ellipse. For the sides of this cylinder, we're going to draw 2 straight parallel lines. Our bottom curve is going to follow the same curve as the top. For our next cylinder, the vertical line is going to get a little bigger, but our horizontal line is going to stay pretty much the same. You'll notice that since our vertical axis gets bigger, it's going to make our ellipse wider. Our lines on the side are going to start to angle in and converge. And our angle at the bottom is going to follow the top. For our next cylinder, our vertical line even bigger, so that we see even more of the top of that cylinder. Notice that each cylinder is getting shorter as we move from left to right. Our sides are also starting to angle more intensely, going from big to small. And our very last cylinder, we're going to see a lot of the top of the cylinder, so almost like a circle. Use your axis to help you keep it symmetrical. And our edges are going to be very exaggerated, going in at a sharp angle and curving intensely at the bottom. So follow the same circular arc of my ellipse. Now to finalize these, you can outline your final lines with a marker if you'd like, or darken your lines with pencil. You can erase out any unneeded pencil lines. I'm going to add a little horizon line behind them so that they're grounded, and add a value of light to dark just to give my cylinders a little bit more three-dimensionality. We can also add a cast shadow. Since our light source is on the left, our shadows are going to be angled on the right. And here's an example of a finished shaded foreshortened cylinder drawing exercise. Artists who are doing figure drawing often encounter the need to use the technique of foreshortening. For our last foreshortening drawing exercise, we're going to be drawing a finger that's pointed directly at the viewer. It can be really challenging to get these angles right, so be patient with yourself and continue to practice. When I draw the human hand, I like to look for simple shapes that can be found within the hand first. So let's analyze this photograph to find what kind of simple shapes we can find throughout. When I begin sketching, I start with a very light undersketch of these simple shapes. And then I add a more refined sketch on top, adding detail, paying close attention to those foreshortened angles, and also adding a little bit of shading. Notice that the finger that's pointing directly at the viewer appears very short. We really only see the top of it. I hope you found this video tutorial to be helpful. Feel free to subscribe for more videos from Make a Mark Studios, helping you to make your mark through art.